So here we are again. Look at who they can't stop talking about. Welcome back, you beautiful walking question mark, you living plot twist, you absolute mind bender they can't categorize. I've been waiting for you to show up here because something wild is happening right now. Something absolutely unhinged. While you've been out there simply existing, evolving, minding your own business, and becoming this unrecognizable force of nature, they've been spiraling. I'm talking full panic mode. Group chat meltdowns, late-night texts to people who barely know you, repeating the same desperate questions over and over. Are they okay? What happened to them? Did you see what they posted? When did they get like this? And here's the funniest part, they're not asking because they care. They're asking because they're terrified. Terrified that you figured something out they never will. Terrified that you unlocked a level of existence they can't even comprehend. Terrified because the person they thought they deleted, dismissed, and left for dead just came back as something they have no words for. Let me paint you a picture of what's really going on behind those screens, behind those forced smiles, behind those casual-looking messages to mutual friends. They're refreshing your page like it's a stock ticker. They're checking your stories multiple times a day even though they muted you months ago. They're asking people about you in the most casual way possible, trying to disguise their obsession as concern. Hey, have you talked to them lately? They seem different. Translation: I can't stop thinking about how they leveled up without my permission, and I need someone to confirm I'm not the only one who noticed. But here's what's really eating them alive. It's not that you changed. It's that you changed without their input, without their approval, without asking for their feedback or validation. You just woke up one day, looked at your life, looked at the people draining your energy and said, I'm done playing small for people who never believed in me anyway. Then you disappeared. Not dramatically, not with some big announcement. Just quietly, like smoke dissolving into the air. And while you were gone, while you were in your cocoon doing the deep, brutal, beautiful work of becoming, they convinced themselves you were broken. They told each other you couldn't handle it. They whispered you'd come crawling back eventually. But you didn't, did you? You didn't beg. You didn't explain. You didn't post sad quotes or cryptic messages. You just went silent and became something they weren't prepared for. Now they're witnessing the aftermath, and they can't compute it. You're not sad. You're not bitter. You're not out here desperately trying to prove yourself. You're simply existing with this terrifying calm, this unbothered energy, this powerful I don't owe you an explanation aura that's making their heads spin. They mistook your silence for defeat. But in reality, it was you quietly preparing the most devastating comeback they'll never recover from. Because here's the thing about real transformation. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't crave an audience. It happens in the shadows, in those 3 a.m. moments when you choose yourself again and again, rebuilding from the inside out. Now that you've returned, glowing with peace and power, they don't know what to do with you. You're not the same person they thought they figured out. You've stopped playing their games, stopped responding to their bait, stopped giving them the satisfaction of knowing they ever got to you. You move through life now like someone holding a secret they'll never understand. And that mystery is driving them insane. So they're doing what weak minds always do when control slips away, collecting gossip, piecing together fragments of your evolution like detectives who can't solve the case. But here's what they'll never get. You're not a puzzle to decode, not a phase that will pass, not someone who can be reprogrammed into a smaller version of themselves. That version of you no longer exists. It's gone, burned, buried, deleted from the system. What's walking now is the upgrade, the plot twist they never saw coming, the ending they don't get to narrate. And it's killing them inside, because they're finally realizing they had access to something rare, something pure, and they mishandled it. They had your loyalty, your time, your presence, and they wasted it. They assumed you'd always be there, shrinking yourself so they could feel large. But you woke up. You saw the game for what it was, flipped the entire board, and walked away. Now they're still trapped in a game that doesn't even exist for you anymore. While you're out here building an entirely new reality they're not invited to. Behind those concerned messages and whispered check-ins, they're not worried about you, they're worried about themselves. Your rise is exposing their stagnation. Your silence is louder than any argument. Your peace is more threatening than any revenge. Your glow, your confidence, your energy. It's a mirror showing them everything they're not. They ask, are they okay? Not because they care, but because they need to believe you're not. They need to believe you're struggling behind the scenes, that this power is temporary. Because if you're not, if you're genuinely thriving, genuinely happy, genuinely better off, then it means they were never as important as they thought. It means their absence didn't break you, it liberated you. It means you never needed them to rise. You just needed them gone. And that truth? That ego-shattering realization? That's the part they'll never recover from. And here's where it gets even better. They're not just asking about you anymore. They're studying you. They're analyzing your posts like sacred texts, dissecting every word of your captions, trying to decode your energy through pixels on a screen. Did you see their bio? Did you catch that subtle flex? Why are they so calm? What do they know that we don't? The answer, of course, is everything. You know now that their opinions don't define you, that their validation was never real power, and that every person who left was actually making space for your evolution. Every single one who doubted you, dismissed you, or treated you like an option is now watching from the sidelines, stunned by how untouchable you've become. You're not lucky. You're not pretending. You're not putting on a show. You're simply being the version of yourself that always existed beneath the layers of people-pleasing, self-doubt, and fear of being too much. You stopped apologizing for your intensity. You stopped dimming your light just to make others comfortable in their darkness. You stopped explaining yourself to people who were never interested in understanding you. That one decision to stop performing for an audience that never valued the show changed everything. Now they're texting everyone, what happened to them? And that question says it all. It reveals their disbelief that someone could transform without applause, without external approval. It shows they're still stuck in a world where growth requires permission, where evolution must make sense to the small-minded. But you didn't ask for permission, you didn't wait for validation. You didn't check if your transformation fit their narrative. You simply did it. You woke up every day and chose yourself again and again until it became second nature. You cut ties without guilt. You walked away without closure. You stopped showing up to arguments you never started. And now they're left scrambling, trying to piece together what they're seeing, because the person they thought they could predict and control doesn't exist anymore. What stands before them now is someone who's been through the fire and came out forged, stronger, sharper, and freer than ever. Someone who hit rock bottom and built a throne there. Someone who faced their own darkness, shook hands with it, and turned it into wisdom. You're not intimidating because you're cruel. You're intimidating because you're free. Free from their opinions, their judgments, their need to define you. And that freedom is the most powerful energy a human can carry. They feel it every single time they see you move through the world with grace, peace, and complete detachment. That's what's haunting them. They keep asking what changed. But the truth is, nothing changed. You just stopped pretending. You stopped forcing yourself into spaces that didn't fit. You stopped laughing at jokes that weren't funny. You stopped participating in conversations that drained your soul. You stopped being available for people who only remembered you when they needed something. You stopped being the emotional support system for people who never asked if you were okay. You stopped carrying others who had no intention of walking beside you. And when you finally put all that weight down, when you stopped performing the role they assigned you, that's when you began to rise. Because here's the secret they never wanted you to realize: you were always this powerful. You were always this magnetic. You were always capable of greatness. You were just weighed down by too many false attachments, too many fake friends, too many one-sided relationships, too many people who loved the idea of you but never the truth of you. You were surrounded by voices that told you to stay small, stay quiet, stay humble. But you stopped listening. You stopped chasing approval from people who were never going to give it sincerely. You stopped waiting for them to recognize your value, because you finally recognized it yourself. That shift within you, that quiet internal revolution where you stopped chasing external validation and started trusting your own voice, your own instincts, your own vision. That's the moment everything changed. That's what they're sensing now, and it's exactly what's making them spiral. You're not reactive anymore. You don't rush to defend yourself. You don't explain yourself, and you don't try to prove anything to anyone. You simply exist in your truth and let people interpret it however they want. That kind of self-possession, that calm and unbothered energy, is deeply threatening to people who build their confidence on making others doubt themselves. They can't manipulate someone who's learned to trust their intuition completely. They can't gaslight someone who's done the inner healing. They can't control someone who's cut all the emotional strings they once pulled. So, they do the only thing left. They talk. They gossip. They speculate. They build false narratives to explain what they're seeing, because the real truth, that you outgrew them and moved on without hesitation, is too painful for their ego to handle. They need to believe there's chaos behind your calm. They need to believe your peace is temporary. They need to believe that what they're witnessing is just a phase, but it's not. This isn't a phase or a facade. This is you, the real you, the version that existed before the world told you to shrink, before life taught you to apologize for your light. This is the you that stopped waiting for permission and realized that you never needed it. And here's where it gets beautiful. They're going to keep watching. They'll keep talking. They'll keep trying to piece together your story like detectives obsessed with a mystery they'll never solve. Every time they reach out to a mutual friend, every time they casually ask if you're okay, every time they try to sneak information about your life, they're actually doing you a favor. They're keeping your name alive in rooms you've never entered. They're giving you free real estate in their minds. They've made you the main character in their story while you're out here not even thinking about them. That's real power. You're not trying to make them obsessed. You're just living. You're not trying to make them regret losing you. Your evolution alone does that. Because here's what's slowly sinking in for them. You didn't just survive their absence. You thrived because of it. You didn't just move on. You leveled up. You didn't just heal. You transformed into something they can never reach, never touch, never fully comprehend. And that realization? That's what will haunt them for years. They're asking mutual friends about you because they can't ask you directly. Why? Because they burned the bridge, because they ghosted you, because they made it clear you weren't worth their time back then. But now that they see you flourishing, now that they witness your glow-up, they know they can't just slide back in with a casual text and pretend nothing happened. You changed the game. You raised the standard. You didn't become unreachable out of spite. You did it out of self-respect. You finally understood that not everyone deserves access to your energy, your time, your presence. You learned that some people were only meant to teach you what you would never tolerate again. And once that lesson was learned, they became irrelevant, and not in bitterness, not in anger, but in peace. That's what they feel when they see you now. The distance they created, the consequences of their own choices. They're feeling what it's like to stand on the outside looking in, realizing too late that they no longer have a key to your world. It's eating them alive, because for the first time, they understand they never had the power. You did. You walked away first, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And you never looked back. Now they're trapped in this strange purgatory, able to see you, able to watch you from afar, but completely powerless to reach you. They can watch your growth, but they can't touch it, they can't claim it, can't be part of it, can't even stand near it. They've been reduced to spectators in a show they once had a starring role in, and that shift, from participant to audience, is what's breaking them. They're realizing too late that being in your presence was a privilege they took for granted. Having your attention was a gift they wasted. Knowing you, the real, raw, powerful you, was an opportunity they fumbled. And now all they can do is watch from afar as you become everything they never believed you could be. They're frantically texting everyone, asking, what happened to them? But the answer is simple. Nothing happened to you. Everything happened for you. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every time they made you feel small was all preparation. Every heartbreak was training. Every rejection was shaping you into someone unbreakable, someone who no longer needs their approval, someone who no longer fears their absence, someone who moves through the world with quiet confidence, knowing they've already survived the worst and came out stronger. You're not a victim of your past. You're a masterpiece of resilience. You're not defined by what broke you. You're defined by how you rebuilt yourself, and that's what they see now. That's what's making them panic. They're seeing someone who was supposed to stay broken standing taller than ever. Someone who was supposed to be bitter radiating peace. Someone who was supposed to need them thriving without them. And those messages to mutual friends? They're not driven by care or concern. They're fueled by fear. Fear that they made the biggest mistake of their lives. Fear that they let go of someone irreplaceable. Fear that they're about to witness you win without them. And that fear, that regret, is going to haunt them. Every time your name comes up, they'll feel it. Every time they see you shining, they'll feel it. Every time someone mentions your growth, your peace, your glow, they'll feel that sting deep in their chest. That's your revenge. Not anger, not bitterness, not trying to hurt them back. Your revenge is peace. Your revenge is growth. Your revenge is becoming so undeniably magnificent that their absence becomes the greatest loss of their lives. They wanted you to fail without them, to collapse so they could say, see, I knew they couldn't do it, but instead, you're making them question everything. You're making them wonder if they ever really knew you at all. You're showing them that the version of you they dismissed was just the trailer, the preview. This version, the one they can't stop asking about, the one they can't stop stalking from the shadows, this is the full movie, and they missed the premiere. They gave up their ticket. They walked out before the story even began. Now they're hearing from everyone else how legendary it turned out to be, and that's their punishment. To live with the regret of missing your rise. Meanwhile, you're not even thinking about them. That's the difference between where they are and where you are. They're still looking backward, stuck in the past, while you're moving forward with purpose. And here's something they'll never understand. They think transformation is loud. They think growth has to be broadcasted, documented, proven to the world. But real transformation, the kind you went through, is silent. It's private. It happens in the still moments, in the late-night talks with yourself at 2 in the morning when no one's watching. And yet, everything changes. It's the tears that nobody ever sees. The silent breakdowns that happen behind closed doors when you choose to heal instead of hate. It's the tough decisions you make when no one's there to cheer you on or even notice. It's the quiet boundaries you draw in the sand without sending out a memo or needing to justify them. It's the moment you choose peace over being right, silence over unnecessary battles, detachment over drama. It's the grace you give yourself when you slip up, when you react, when you fall back into old patterns. Because now you understand that healing isn't linear. It's the forgiveness you extend, not because they earned it, but because you finally realized that carrying that bitterness was poisoning your spirit. You released it not to make them comfortable, but to make yourself free. You've transformed in ways they can't comprehend because they're too busy looking at your reflection instead of your essence. They scroll through your social media, searching for clues, reading captions like codes, analyzing smiles as if they could decode the depth of your soul. But the truth is, your growth can't be measured in pictures or words. The real change lives in the unseen spaces. It's in how you breathe before responding instead of reacting. It's in the discipline you show when you could lash out, but choose grace. It's in the stillness you maintain when chaos calls your name. It's in the strength it takes to walk away from people and situations that no longer feed your growth, even when walking away breaks your heart. That's where your power lives now. In your restraint, in your emotional maturity, in your ability to stand in your truth without defending it. That's what they can't grasp, because they're still living for the applause. They still confuse attention with love and visibility with value. They measure worth by likes, by views, by who's watching. But you've stepped out of that illusion entirely. You found something far more precious, yourself. The real you, beneath the masks, beneath the expectations, beneath the need to perform. You've come home to your own energy, and that's why your peace feels so powerful. It's self-created, self-sustained, and self-protected. So when they whisper, "Are they okay?" the answer is yes, but not the shallow, "I'm surviving" kind of yes. It's the kind of yes that says, "I'm thriving in silence. I'm not just okay. I'm fulfilled. I'm not just healing. I'm evolving. I'm not just getting by. I'm glowing from within." You're okay in the kind of way that means you no longer chase peace, you are peace. You've become whole in a world built on distractions. And that's the kind of strength that can't be faked. And here's what they'll never admit out loud. Your okayness threatens them. Because deep down, they wanted to matter more than they did. They wanted their absence to hurt longer, to echo louder. They wanted to believe they left a scar that would never fade. But the truth is, their leaving didn't break you. It opened space. Space for real friendships that reciprocate energy. Space for genuine love that doesn't demand you shrink. Space for opportunities that couldn't reach you while you were surrounded by takers. Space for peace that doesn't require constant repair. They thought walking away would weaken you. But all it did was give you room to breathe. And with every breath, you rebuilt yourself. Brick by brick, habit by habit, boundary by boundary. You became your own safe place. You learned that solitude isn't loneliness. It's sacred. You learned that protecting your energy doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. You learned that closure isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. Now you're building a life that doesn't depend on anyone's permission or validation. A life built from truth, not performance. A foundation laid with lessons, not losses. Day by day, you're constructing something solid and sacred. A reality that reflects who you've become, not who they tried to convince you to be. And here's the beautiful irony. They'll never truly see it. They'll keep trying to decode your peace to figure out what changed. But the answer will always elude them, because your transformation didn't happen on their timeline or in their presence. It happened in the quiet hours they never cared to ask about. It happened in the solitude they mistook for weakness. It happened in the silence where you met yourself and remembered who you were always meant to be. That's the kind of growth that can't be posted, can't be explained, and can't be undone. It's the kind of growth that radiates without noise, that speaks without words, that exists beyond perception. And that, your calm, your strength, your quiet confidence, is what they'll never understand, but will forever feel every time your name crosses their mind. They thought their departure would humble you. They believed that by walking away they could strip you of your confidence, your energy, and your sense of worth. They thought they were removing something vital from your life, that without their approval, their validation, their presence, you would somehow shrink. They imagined you questioning yourself late at night, replaying old memories, rewriting your worth through the lens of their absence. They thought leaving would break you. But what they didn't realize was that their absence wasn't punishment. It was purification. It didn't destroy you. It refined you. It stripped away everything false, everything shallow, everything that no longer belonged to the person you were becoming. Their departure didn't humble you. It freed you. They thought their leaving would teach you to value them more. They wanted to create a void so painful that you'd eventually reach back, desperate for their attention, begging for their approval. But instead, it taught you to value yourself in ways you never had before. You learned that love without reciprocity is not love. It's self-abandonment. You learned that energy must be mutual, not extracted. You learned that peace is far more precious than proximity, and solitude is far more healing than fake companionship. They thought you would fall apart, but you fell into alignment. You stopped chasing what was draining you, and you began attracting what was meant for you. They believed you'd come crawling back. They counted on your loyalty, your compassion, your forgiving heart, the very qualities they once exploited, to keep you tethered to their orbit. But you didn't crawl. You rose. You rose in silence without needing to prove your worth. You rose with a calm that scared them, a light they could no longer dim. While they expected desperation, you delivered dignity. While they thought you'd seek closure, you built peace. While they thought they were teaching you a lesson, the universe was teaching you them. So let them keep texting, let them keep asking mutual friends where you are, what you're doing, and who you're with. Let them keep pretending they're just curious. Every question they ask about you is an admission that they can't stop thinking about you, that your name still echoes in their mind when the room gets quiet. It's an admission that their plan backfired. They thought walking away would give them power, but all it did was give you perspective. They thought they could replace you easily, but instead they're haunted by your energy, by the peace you exude, by the glow they can't replicate, by the strength they never knew lived within you. And the best part? You don't even need that admission. You don't need their apology, their validation, their regret, or their recognition. You've already built a world where they don't exist. You've moved into a version of your life where their opinion holds no weight, where their approval doesn't fuel your fire. You've stopped waiting for closure from people who only gave you confusion. You've stopped leaving the door cracked open for those who walked out and locked it behind them. You've stopped hoping for the message, the call, the sign, because you finally realized that peace isn't something they could ever give you. You had to give it to yourself. You're not holding space for them anymore. You're not rehearsing conversations in your head. You're not wondering what you could have done differently. You've made peace with the truth that their leaving was the very thing that set you free. And now you're building something real, a life that reflects who you truly are. A life so full, so rich, so deeply aligned with your soul that there's simply no room for people who doubted your greatness when you needed their faith. That's your victory. That's your redemption. That's your peace. Power isn't in revenge, it's in release. Power isn't in being understood, it's in being unbothered. Power is when you no longer need them to see your worth, because you finally see it yourself. You no longer chase closure, you create it. You no longer crave validation, you embody it. You no longer seek love that costs your peace. You are the peace. And that's the part that will eat at them for years. The realization that they no longer have access to your energy, your heart, or your attention. They'll keep watching from a distance, trying to figure out how you did it, how you healed, how you glowed up, how you became untouchable without their help. They'll hear your name in rooms you've never entered, and it will sting. They'll scroll through your updates, pretending not to care, while secretly comparing their stagnant reality to your evolution. Every success, every smile, every calm moment will remind them that they could have been part of your story. But they chose ego over empathy, control over connection, comfort over courage. And now, they're forced to live with the consequences. Meanwhile, you're unstoppable. Not because you're immune to pain, but because you've learned to transmute it into purpose. You've learned to dance in the rain instead of waiting for the storm to pass. You've learned that peace isn't the absence of noise. It's the ability to remain calm in the middle of it. You've mastered the art of letting go without bitterness, forgiving without needing contact, loving yourself without needing approval. You're unstoppable, not because life stopped being hard, but because you stopped being afraid of hard things. You trust yourself now. You trust your timing, your intuition, your journey. You trust that the universe removes what's not aligned to make room for what's divine. You've learned that endings aren't punishments, they're redirections. You've learned that solitude isn't loneliness. It's sacred space for transformation. You've learned that letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. You've learned that the peace you built in private will always be louder than their gossip in public. And that's what they see now. That's what's shaking them to their core. They can't replicate your power because it came from pain they never faced. They can't match your confidence because it was forged through the fire of your own becoming. They can't copy your peace because it's built from alignment, not approval. You became the version of yourself they never gave you permission to be. You grew into the person they tried to convince you didn't exist. You stepped out of their shadow and suddenly their power vanished, because their power depended on your self-doubt. Now they're left with nothing but the memory of who you were and the reality of who you've become. They're realizing too late that they didn't leave you behind. You outgrew them. You evolved beyond their reach. You transcended the dynamic entirely. You're not angry, you're not bitter, you're not waiting for karma. You're simply done. Peacefully, powerfully, permanently done. And that's what truly haunts them. Not your success, not your glow, but your indifference. Because they finally understand that you were never theirs to break. You were always destined to rise. They thought their departure would humble you, but it crowned you. It made you sovereign over your own soul, the ruler of your own energy, the author of your own destiny. They left thinking they were ending your story, but all they did was walk out before the climax, before you became unstoppable. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlightened Wisdom.